Hey guys, welcome in Mastering Angular 15 from Beginners to Advanced course. In today's lecture, we will talk about input and output decorators. First, let's talk about input decorators. The input decorator in Angular is used to bind a property within one child component to receive a value from its parent component. It allows data to flow from the parent component to the child component. Here we have view student component, which we have created in our previous lectures. We can definitely reuse this component, but only downside of this component is in this we have static student data. But for making this data dynamic, we can use this input decorator. So we can pass it from its parent component, and its parent component is app component. Now I will copy the student object and I'm gonna define it in parent component. Now we have same student object in two components, in parent component and in child component. But in this case we have best practice that if we want to use an object multiple times, then we must use class so that we can reuse our data. So over here, for the sake of reusability, I'm going to create an interface nggi model/student. We can definitely do something similar with the class, but the main difference with the interface is data checking will be at compile time, and if we miss any property, then it will show an exception. I'm going to create this interface type object in our app.component.ts file, and now if I want to pass the same object to our view student component, then I will use input decorator. An input decorator we define in two steps. First, I'm going to write the decorator @input, and here we will define simply its type, as here it giving us an exception. To remove this exception, I'm going to write the not symbol here, which means student will not null. We can also define it optional. So this was the first step. In second step, we need to send it from the parent to the child, where we have used it in HTML. In this we define our input as a property, and I have to pass the student to this property. This student is referred to this component student, where we define it and initialize its properties. So this is the way we use the input decorator in a child component or directive to let Angular know that a property in that component can receive its value from its parent component, and it helps to remember that the data flow is from the perspective of the child component. Now how we use it? We use the input decorator to inform Angular that a property in that component can get its value from its parent component. Now let's run it and see if it shows the results on the front end. So it updated our student data with the new dynamic values. Next we have output decorator. The output decorator in Angular is used to bind a property of a child component and emit an event to its parent component. It allows data to flow from the child component to the parent component. Now in this same view student component, I'm going to define my output decorator too. And our output is always an event emitter, and in this I'm going to pass a string value to my parent component. For event, we need to define that in which conditions it will emit. So I'm going to write a button, and on its click it will notify to the parent component. Now we also need to refer it in our parent component. For output decorator, we use this round brackets, and in this brackets we need to write the name of our event which we define in our child component, and on right side we write the function name which will invoke in our parent component, and in this we will get this value in this $event which was sent by our child component. Next I'm going to define this function in TS file, and after getting these params it will show an alert. Now let's run the application and test this output decorator. As you can see, if I click on this notify button, it's showing us an alert. So the conclusion is output decorator in a child component or directive lets data flow from the child to the parent, and output decorator marks a property in a child component as a doorway through which data can travel from the child to the parent. And these were the simple examples for both the input decorator and output decorator. Hope you understand it. And if this lecture is helpful for you, then guys, please like, subscribe and share my channel. Thanks for watching.